This video is sponsored by Starforged and their latest creation, the Bell of Nurgle. Crafted from real brass and inspired by the Plague Father himself, this grotesque relic rings with the chimes of decay, its surface crawling with skulls, sigils, and one particularly cheerful nurgling. Order yours at Starforged and embrace the blessings of rot. Use the link in the description for 10% off before entropy claims us all. Nurgle endures. The corridor was narrow. Not narrow like architecture gone tight with age, but narrow like a wound, freshly torn through the bowels of a hab-block forgotten by time. Metal walls puckered and sagged. Pipes wept steam and mucus-colored liquids. The lighting flickered like a dying star gasping its last breath. Every inch reeked of oil, sweat, and the dense, meaty perfume of rot. Trooper 77 Kilo Null of the Death Corps of Krieg didn't pause to consider the layout. His boots were already pounding the ferrocrete floor, heavy with mud, dried ichor, and the crushed bones of whatever had come before. His lasgun long spent, the rifle was slung across his back, now nothing more than a bludgeon. In his hands he gripped a trench knife with a chipped monoblade and a rusted entrenching tool sharpened to a crescent grin.
Mission objective: retrieve the heretic seer. Last known location: chamber beyond corridor. Resistance expected. Casualty projections absolute.
A door hissed open behind him. Screams spilled in. His pulse thudded in his ears, slow, deliberate. A Kriegsman's heartbeat, trained like a metronome of war. Each inhale rasped through the gas mask like steam in a dying engine. The stale rubber of the mouthpiece pressed hard against his face. Inside, the mask grew humid, metallic, suffocating. Ahead, they waited. Scavers, cultists, human detritus swollen with faith and filth. They rose from the gloom like tumors sprouting from the wall, tattooed flesh glistening, mouths open and fevered howls. One raised a studded bat, another a chain hook, a third clutching a serrated blade still wet with earlier sins. 77 didn't pray. Krieg had killed the idea of mercy centuries ago. He surged forward. The first impact was brutal. His shoulder cracked into the bat wielder, smashing the heretic against the wall. Bone gave way like wood in a furnace. A second cultist leapt over the dying body, wielding twin bones sharpened into jagged daggers. 77 ducked low, his entrenching tool coming up to split the man's crotch like a butcher at a wet market. The scream that followed was drowned by the arrival of three more. Two armed with broken industrial tools, one howling and naked, her face carved into a permanent grin. They came fast, uncoordinated, but relentless. 77's blade was already punching into the woman's throat, twisted as he drove forward. Blood geysered up his arm. The smell came filtered through the chemical tang of his respirator. Copper, bile, and the stench of heated madness. A hook lashed across his back. Pain like molten glass blossomed. He staggered. Another strike to the ribs. Then another. His leg buckled as a pipe club smashed into his knee. Pain is the debt of the living, he thought. Eyes wild behind the round lenses of his mask. His heart beat louder now, like a drum buried under meters of earth, demanding to be heard. And then for a heartbeat, silence. The kind that presses into the skin. He could hear only the wet rasp of his own breath through the mask and the steady thunk of blood dripping from his blade. He swept his shovel low, carving meat from shins and kneecaps. A scream erupted as one cultist collapsed, flailing. The trench knife buried into another's cheek, twisting until it cracked teeth and jaw. A blow to the spine, then another. 77 dropped to one knee, lashed out blindly, caught something soft. Screams again. A metal pipe caught his helmet, sending shock waves of distortion in his vision. His heart was thundering now. His breathing drew harder through the mask, each pull like air through a wet sponge. More piled forward. Too many. They crawled over their dead, stepping on those still screaming, eager for a chance to break the invader. Their fingers clawed at him, digging beneath his flak vest, reaching for his throat. A thumb found the strap of his mask and pulled. No. He smashed his forehead forward, the glass lenses cracked on impact. Blood splashed up inside the mask. He tasted it through the filters, iron and filth and something else. Joy. Not his. The mask didn't just filter air, it filtered the soul. Now it leaked and he was tasting theirs. They swarmed him. 4 now. 5. Time bled. He was dragged down, boots scraping the floor, limbs pinned beneath bodies tattooed with hexes and madness. One mounted his chest, pressing a curved knife against his throat. The edge bit through rubber and caught flesh. His breathing hitched. The respirator coughed under strain, pulling in foul air through mangled filters. Every breath was a burning inhale of metal, mold, and the stench of sin. His heart slammed against his ribs like a bayonet trying to pierce its way out. 77 roared. Not a scream, not a battle cry. It was the sound of a dying world refusing to go quietly. His shovel plunged up beneath the man's ribs, twisted, tugged. Entrails spilled out like hot sausage meat. He rolled, crushed the dying cultist beneath him, used the corpse like a shield as another pipe came down. It burst open the man's skull like a rotten melon. Bone shrapnel cut into 77's neck. Warmth ran down his collar. He didn't flinch. He didn't feel fear. Something tore loose in him. Not flesh. Something deeper. He lunged like an animal, catching one heretic mid-charge and slamming the sharpened edge of his shovel into the man's mouth. The jaw split with a sickening crunch, tongue fluttering. 77 didn't stop. His trench knife disappeared into throats and kidneys. Blood sprayed so hard it hissed off his lenses. He staggered forward. Each step pulled glass deeper into his leg. Blood squelched in his boot. That's when they came again. One tried to leap onto his back but slipped on the gore, crashing down with a shriek. 77 drove his foot into the man's throat. Another tackled him outright, biting at the hose of his respirator. He didn't have time to scream. Just swing. Just bleed. Just breathe. 1 more. 2 more. His muscles screamed with fatigue. His vision pulsed red. His fingers slipped, smeared with blood not his own, but the blade still danced. A hooked blade carved across his thigh. A hammer blow shattered 2 ribs. His left arm dangled wrong, bone visible through rent flesh. His flak vest was in ribbons, cloth and ceramite hung like torn flags. A jagged shard of rebar stuck out of his side, pulsing with every heartbeat. A belt had snapped. His canteen and filters dragged behind him like entrails. Still he walked. Still he fought. His body a cathedral of pain and ruin. Each step tore new screams from his nerves. Each breath rasped blood through the mask's filters. The air inside smelled like death and ozone, tasted like metal and hate. The final cultist stood before the sealed door, twitching. An albino brute in a rebreather and robe stitched from human skin. His eyes rolled white. He raised a cleaver etched in forbidden runes and charged. 77 caught the blow on his arm, shattered it entirely. Then he drove the entrenching tool into the beast's face. Once, twice, again and again, until the body twitched no more. The door creaked open. Inside, bound in barbed chain and whispering praises to dark gods, knelt the heretic seer. 77 didn't speak. He collapsed onto one knee. Blood puddled around him. Inside his mask, the cracked lenses flickered with dying light. He looked upon the seer, and despite the agony, despite the horror, he felt nothing. Not victory, not pride, just the cold, the absolute cold of Krieg. His heartbeat fluttered now, panicked and stuttering like the wings of a wounded insect. Breaths came shallow. The mask sucked inward with each pull, blood clogging one side of the filter. He tasted copper, heard the pulse of his own veins. Time slowed. The corridor breathed with him, or not at all.
Target acquired. Trooper 77 Kilo Null, awaiting extraction. Status terminal. Last breath. Faith made manifest.
And then he smiled. But only the mask knew it.